Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are excited for today's session because today's session is going to be super amazing. Why? Because we are going to implement our first case study for PySpark. So in this video, my target would be to make you guys familiar with the basics of PySpark, and then going forward, we would be learning the machine learning in PySpark because Python is a language I told you. Spark is a execution engine which is like a CPU, and then machine learning there is a library in PySpark which we use. But today's session will be more hands-on. There will be very less theory. It will be totally practical implementation of the concepts for a beginner. So without wasting your time, let's move on. So guys, in the previous session, I guess I told you guys that there is a Databricks community edition which you need to download, or basically create an account. You don't need to download either, and there is a this website where you will be going. I created the account in the previous video. I'll just put my email ID and I'll click on continue. Now there is a OTP will come to my mobile, and I'll just check the OTP. And then I need to enter the values. So let me do that. So guys, this is the easiest way to log in into your Databricks. Okay, now I am at the platform where I do have a Spark, I have Python, everything is already set up. So in today's video, I am going to share a case study with you, and we are going to basically solve the case study to understand the basic concepts. But before that, what are the necessary steps you need to perform in the community edition of the Databricks? Click on this new, click cluster, because cluster is the CPU which this website is providing you free of cost, and they are giving you Spark 3.3 version with 15 GB of memory. And the name of the cluster you can modify as per your need. Let's say I name it Rajat cluster, create compute. Just I need to click on this. I'll click on this. Now the process will start. It will take couple of minutes, sometime maybe 2-3 minutes also it can take, depending on your internet speed. So guys, you can see the cluster is ready. How you can see that? Because there is a green symbol which has been popped up. Now you can be pretty sure that your cluster is ready. Now what you need a CPU. So CPU is ready. Execution, how you'll do? Using the notebook. I told you guys in the previous video that Databricks is a advanced version of Jupyter Notebook. How I'll open a notebook? So I'll click on new again. I'll open a notebook. So this will again take couple of seconds depending on your internet speed. That's how you get a notebook. And similarly, you can insert cells just like Jupyter Notebook. So now the good part about this is on the back end you have the Spark automatically installed. Although on the Jupyter Notebook you cannot run Spark at your home. You need to either go for the virtual machine setup, which is a tough work. I would say this is the best way. Now I have created this new notebook. I'll just name this notebook as first case study, and I will upload this on the GitHub account, so you will be able to download this. So the name of the notebook will be this, which you will see in the description box itself, and you will be able to download it. Now, what is a case study? So guys, let's talk about the case study. Okay, so on your screen you can see the case study is of sales data. And what is sales data? Like sales data is whenever you are selling something, so there are some transaction IDs involved and sales IDs involved, everything is involved in that. Now here if you see, so the problem statements are given in a bunch of pieces. So you're given a data set which is the sales transaction data, and task which we need to perform as a programmer is load the data into PySpark session. That is a step one for a beginner, whoever is new to the PySpark thing, and you guys are very new. I'm assuming that's why I'm taking this first example as a case study. Now perform some basic operations like filtering sales greater than a specific value, that we will check once I'll show you the data. Then group sales data by region and calculate the total revenue. So there is a total revenue which we will calculate as a column. Then find the top 3 regions with the highest sales, and in the last we will display the result. Now let me do one thing and show you guys how the data looks. So this is the data. Let me open it for you. So you guys can see there are some columns: transaction ID, which is your primary key. Sometimes, most of the times, in fact, the transaction IDs are the primary key. Then we have the region, so whether that is north, south, east or west. And then we have the product, that in which region, which are the products. So if this is a small data, you guys can do all those calculations like in which region, which is the most selling product. But now assume you have 1 million observations. So in that case, you need to import this data into PySpark. Now you have the quantity and prices. So these are the 5 columns which you have now. And now what I'll do, I just open my Databricks again. Okay, so this is the case study, and then this is a description of the data, like transaction ID. Okay, then you have the region, then product ID, then quantity, then price. Now what I'll do, first I'll import the data. How I'll import the data? Let me show it to you. You'll go to new, click on the table. Now this is giving you option, drop the file. So it will go to the desktop. This is the sales data. You can see a preview also that the data is correct because this is a small data. Now what I'll do, create table with UI. See, Databricks is so easy. If you are going to do this work in Jupyter Notebook and all, so this will be going to take so much of time. Now I'll just click on the create table with UI. Sometime it takes a couple of seconds. And before that, just go down in the table. I missed one thing. You need to select the cluster. On which cluster you want this table to be created. Now I'll click preview table. Cluster is selected. Everything is done. Let's go down. Now you can see this is the name of the table they are creating. Now I want to name this table as sales data, and this is loading the data. So this takes couple of minutes, couple of seconds depending on your internet speed again. Now you can notice one thing, guys, that the column names are coming here. We want to create these column name, and by default the system is creating column name as C0, C1, C2, C3, which I don't want. I want column names to be the first row. So there is an option, first row is a header. I'll just click on this. Now what it will do, it will automatically identify that in my data what are the columns. Now one more thing I need to check. I showed you my Databricks notebook where what was the data type of each of these particular columns, so that you need to make sure that you are defining the column with the correct data type. Now if you remember, so transaction ID was a string, region was a string, product was a string, then quantity was a string. Do you remember that? No, it was an integer. Quantity is an integer. So you need to select int, because you can see the numbers cannot be string. Then similarly, price is what? Price is floating point number, because there are decimal value. So these value I am selecting. Now I'll just click on the create table. This will create the table for me immediately, and I will be able to use this table directly in my workbook. So you can see this is the table which is already created. Now I'll go back to my workspace and I'll just open the recent file. I'll just sort it. So these are the old file which it is showing. This is the file, my file, which I just created. So you guys also need to make sure that you're opening the right file. Now you have everything settled. You have a table, you have the case study, you have the conditions. Now data is also there. So now let's start writing the code one by one as per the case study, whatever case study is asking. So the first thing I need to do is just from PySpark, I need to call the PySpark. Okay, that's how it will be automatically called up .sql. So in PySpark, I do have an Excel package, and I have to import only what? Spark session. So this will start my Spark session. Now from PySpark SQL, I'll need some functions, obviously, because I would be using group by and so many other things. So I need to call the PySpark SQL and then functions, and then what I'll import column sum I will need here, and DESC I will need. Okay, for all the transactional data performances which I want to do, like all the transactional thing. So now you have to look at the case study. Let me remove the type of the data. I want to delete that now so that you can see the basics. So the first step would be load the data into PySpark data frame. So how we can do that? Since we have the data already here as a table, so it's very easy. So you guys already know that the table is there in this particular session. Now, how I can read that table? This is very simple, okay? Let's say, what was my table name? So that was sales data. So what I need to do, df, which is my data frame, equal to spark dot SQL. And inside this, what I need to do, using f string, I will use f string. I explained you guys already the function of f string. I want to retrieve something. So let's say I will write select star from. Now automatically my table should pop up here. So what was the name of the table? Was, if you see, that was small s, sales data. Let me double check one more time the name of the table. So the name of the table is correct. Now what I'll do, I'll just click on this to run the session, and you guys can see that there is a data set which is created here. Now what I need to do, just to show this data set, df dot show. It's very simple, okay? Now when I'll run this piece of code, it will show you the data also, whatever we loaded. So now when I go down df.show, so you can see that all the data has been loaded here, and you can see all that data. Okay, so that was the first thing in the case study. Load the data into a PySpark data frame. So we have loaded the data into PySpark data frame. Along with that, we have also shown the data. So this is the question number 1. Now if you see the question number 2, filter sales greater than a specific threshold. So threshold we can decide on the base of the data. If you notice guys in this data now, okay, so the next case study point says that we have to filter on some basis. Now if I want to calculate, let's say that what is the total revenue done by this, so how I'll do that? So if you want to calculate the total revenue, so that is sales multiplied by price, that will give you the total sales. Now how I'll do that? Let's say I want to create a sales data frame. So I'll write sales df, see it very carefully. Now what was the name of my data frame which I created up? This is just df, okay? So now you use df dot, okay? Why I'm using df dot? Because I want to use this particular function with column. So with column function, what it does, with column basically help you to create a new column on the basis of some existing column, and there is a syntax for that. So I want to calculate what? Total revenue. And as I told you that the total revenue is a byproduct, okay? So you need to write again the syntax call. That's why I gave, this is a syntax you need to remember. Inside the call only I have to give the column value. Now this is a byproduct of what? I told you quantity multiplied by price. So I'll mention quantity. This is number 1. Now after this there will be a multiply symbol. Then again I'll write call, and inside the call price. Price again will come in double quotes. So in this line basically you are creating a new data frame, okay? So now you have the total revenue in this new data frame. If you want to show that, you can do that, but let's work on the threshold part. Now threshold, so we can assume anything. Let's say I keep the threshold of 1000, that the total revenue is more than 1000. I'm keeping that as a threshold. Now I'm creating a new data frame, okay, that will talk about the total filtration. Now I can keep any name, let's say sales underscore df2. So in the sales df2 I need to use sales df, because that is a data frame where I have the total revenue. Now I'll use the filter. So filter is used to filter out any value. Now here, what is the thing I'm trying to filter? I'm trying to filter total revenue. So always remember, you will use call, and what will come with this? Total revenue. Let me write, or in fact copy this, so there is no scope of error. Again, one thing I am missing here, that it should be in double quotes. Total revenue in double quotes. Okay. Now this 1000, I'm taking a threshold. So let's say, let me pull it down now. So let's say the threshold value I'm keeping as Rajat equals to 1000. So that is a flag I want to put here. Now how I'll do that? So the total revenue is there. Inside this, I'm giving a condition is greater than Rajat. So this is pretty much easy, right? So the Rajat variable have a value of 1000, then you are giving a condition that filter only those value where the total revenue is greater than 1000 value. Okay, I think this is pretty simple as of now. If you have any doubt, please put it in the comment section. I'll reply to that. Now you can simply check it. I told you how to print a data frame. Sales.df.show. I'll just run this piece of code and you will be able to see the output. It's running, right? So you can see the new value is already created, and only the values where the total revenue is more than 1000. Can you see any value less than 1000? Let's check, is there any value? How we can do that? In this sales df. So let's say sales underscore df dot show. And let's comment out that show for a minute. So let me run this code. So you guys can see the total values. How many values? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And how many are there which are less than 1000? So there are value 900, then 700. Now, I hope you got it. It's pretty easy, guys. Only thing you need to keep mind is the syntax. Like use the call, how to use the filter function. These things are very important. You should know that. So now that filtration thing we are done, like filter sales greater than a specific threshold is also done. Now I will use the group by here. And all this workbook you will be able to download from my GitHub account. So don't forget to check the description box. In the description, I always put the link. Okay. Now for grouping the data, I want to create a new data frame. Let's say sales underscore df3 equal to, this is again very important. What I'll use here, sales df. Okay. And I can use sales df2, but depending on the need, I don't need the filtered value. Okay. Because I want the complete data. So I'm using sales underscore df. This is pretty much self-explanatory. Now, instead of filter, just use group by here. Inside group by, what you need to give? Let's say I want to group by on the basis of region. Okay. And group by is always used with aggregate functions. What are aggregate functions? Like sum, count, all of them, they are considered as aggregate functions. So I would be using here what? Sum. But before that, I need to define that I'm going to use the aggregate function. Okay. So that it can identify. Now let's use the sum. I want the sum of what? Total revenue. So the total revenue sum I am looking here. Now this will give us the sum and it will group the data on the basis of region. So region wise, you will see only north, south, east and west, and the total will come with respect to that. Now one more functionality we have, we can use the alias. What is alias? Alias is the name which you want to give the column. It's very simple. Now again you can see the alias I have written here. Now you just need to give the name of this. So just write revenue as per what? Region. Now this is ready. You have the data ready. Now just simply sales underscore df3 dot show. See, this is not underscore. I have to write underscore, guys. Okay. Now this is the ready data. Now group by will work. Let me run this piece of code. So you can see only those columns which I wanted to pull. So group by south, east, west and north. Pretty much easy here. Then total revenue by them. So this is very easy again, guys. Only thing you need to make sure that you understand the syntax, what I'm explaining it to you. Okay. Now the last part of the second pointer which we are trying to solve, find the top 3 region with the highest sales value. Top 3 region with the highest sales value. So this is again very easy. Okay. So I'll create one more data frame here. Simply let me insert one more cell below, and the target is top regions, top underscore 3 underscore df. Okay, I always try to keep the name of the data frame very friendly, which we can remember. So now this is the one. Then what we have to call, which data frame we will be using here? We will be using sales df3, sales underscore df3. In this we have the accumulated values which we just calculated. Now dot order by I need to use here. Simple. Now let's say I want to get in a descending order, so I'll use the descending function. Descending of what? Total revenue. Now let me just copy this. This is the alias name. I can copy that. Okay, I'll just paste it here inside the descending one. So your code is almost ready. Okay, now you do the limit, because we want top 3. So limit, just keep it 3. So this is again ready. Now just top 3.df dot show. Let's run this. So there is an error. What the error says, a column or function parameter revenue, this they are not resolving. Now the error reason is because it's not able to identify this column, and also this alias name has not come up. So there is something wrong with this particular line. So if you see brackets properly, this is starting here, it's closing here, starting here, this starting. Okay, this is an extra bracket. This will close in the last, so that all operations are combined together. Now you will see that this name will change, like total revenue should change to revenue as per region. Now let me run the previous line. Revenue as per region. Now our code will work. Okay, so this was a silly mistake, guys, which usually happens when you code. So now let's run this. Now this revenue as per region column we have in the data, you can see up there. Now let me quickly run this. Oh, okay, perfect. That's so nice when you hit an error and you able to crack that. Okay, so you can see as per region we have sorted the data. What we did, we order by and descending order, and then we have given the limit of 3. Now if you want to give the limit of 2, you can also do that. You can run this, so you will get the counting as per your need. Okay, so we are almost done with the case study. What was the last thing? Display the results. We are already displaying the results, guys. That was a surprise element here. So now on that note, I would take a leave from you. I hope you enjoyed today's session, and even I loved today's session, because something which we were doing hands-on is always good. So on that note, what I would mention that if you guys want to download this, again I will say this, if you want to download this sheet, you can get it in the description box, and I usually put all the content on the GitHub account. So today we covered the case study. From tomorrow we are going to start the machine learning and the basics of Spark also. Whatever the necessary thing in the Spark, I will cover only that. Okay, so on that note, I will take leave from all of you. I hope you enjoyed the session, and if you find this session helpful for you, please hit the like button. Please share this video with your friends and family. Anybody who's starting with PySpark, this is an actual session where you are doing hands-on coding. That's why it's very important for you. Just watch this video and do the coding by your own self. Okay, just download this also, so that is really helpful. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you in the next video. All the best. Please subscribe to my channel and please like my videos. Thank you.